Welcome to Who Wins the NFC. It's going to be our NFC playoff preview. We see a lot of teams at the bottom competing for some wildcard spots. The NFC is a little bit top heavy. We're going to get into our predictions here. We see as many as 8 teams having a realistic shot of the wildcard. We're going to look at 6 here and then pick the 3 that we like. We've got Seattle, Dallas, Minnesota, Chicago, the Giants, and the Falcons. We feel the Bears and Falcons are about a year away. Giants might have some issues with Saquon. We go with Dallas, Seattle, and Minnesota. Now let's get into our division winners. NFC West will be our first. We think Seattle's definitely going to give the Niners a run, but ultimately we like San Francisco here to win the NFC West. We think they're going to be more stable at quarterback here. You got Trey Lance there, you got Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold there as a third string. Pretty good backup to have. So we think that 49ers win the division and they'll do some damage in the playoffs. We see the NFC South as an interesting battle between the Panthers, Falcons, and Saints, but ultimately we feel the Saints will emerge victorious. We think Derek Carr is going to have a bounce-back season. We like Michael Thomas coming back to go along with Chris Olave, and then with Alvin Kamara in the backfield, I think it's a powerful offense, and the defense is surprisingly good. The NFC East could be another interesting 3-team race with the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles, all viable contenders for the division crown. We thought we'd shock you guys by picking the Cowboys to win the NFC East. They have improved on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball, we feel, but come on, it's the Eagles all the way. Represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. We think they got even better with the draft, getting some steals in the first round and later, so we're going to go with the Eagles here for the NFC East. For the NFC North, we see this coming down between the Vikings and the Lions. We see the Bears as a viable contender mostly next year, but for this season we really think the Lions have changed. We don't think they're the same old Lions that everybody makes fun of, no longer rebuilding since 1957. We think that they're going to be really, really good, and really for them, their ceiling depends on how they end up in the playoff seeding. They really want to get at least a 2 seed to be able to play games at home where they're dominant. So now our forecast for the NFC wildcard round, we have the Vikings at the Lions and Seahawks at the Saints, and we think that the home teams will emerge victorious here, and the Lions beat the Vikings, Saints beating the Seahawks. Next, we're going to move on to the Dallas and San Francisco wildcard matchup. While they've played each other, this will be 3 years in a row if this prediction holds up, so how could I predict anything different from what's happened in the past? We think especially if they get this game at home, San Francisco should win this one fairly easily and win the wildcard round and move on to the divisional round. That takes us to the divisional round. So in the divisional first game, the Saints at the Eagles, this couldn't be a worse matchup for the Saints. You got a dome team going outdoors and will likely be cold weather, playing outside. Not good, and we just discussed how dominant we think the Eagles can be, so the Eagles should win this one fairly easily and move on to the conference championship game for the NFC. Next up, we have the Lions at the 49ers, and this is one of those situations where if the Lions had it flipped around, if they have the home field, we like the Lions here, but if this holds up, we're going to go with the 49ers winning at home, setting up a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, the 49ers at the Eagles, version 2. We think in this game, the Eagles are going to pick up where they left off, leading Kansas City in the first half of the Super Bowl, but ultimately will prove to be not enough as the 49er defense stymies them, and they do just enough on offense with Kyle Shanahan making some interesting play calls to get some revenge and win this game and become the NFC champion, move on to the Super Bowl. So these are our predictions. As always, in the comments, we welcome your responses. We like to have an interesting dialogue. Let us know what you think.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.